Anyway, we were supposed to make the attack at 1:30, and we didn't have any ammunition. Lieutenant Rice went around with a jeep, and he gathered all the extra ammunition from the 10th Armored. And he had bandoliers of ammunition, machine gun ammunition, hand grenades, and he had some .45 ammunition. So he parked his car in the middle of the road, and as we came up, we went on both sides of it. And he personally, and Colonel Sink came up and was talking to him, and Lieutenant Rice personally was handing out bandoliers to each man, and grenades and whatever. And he saw I had a .45, so he just gave me a big handful of them because he didn't have enough to put them. I put them in my pocket. I had 2 magazines, but I could load them later as I needed them. We came up here and we had to wait, I don't know what for, and they were getting organized, and right at the crossroad there was a 10th Armored Jeep, on an angle Jeep. The driver was hanging over the side, and the blood had just poured out of him, and the snow, see, there was no snow on the other side of Bastogne. But as we came through Bastogne, through Illusory, there was snow, maybe 2 or 3 inches. And it wasn't a real hard snow, but it was soft, so it was melting, and the water was running down with this armored man's blood. Got in the snow and mixed with it, and the water, and it looked like the whole ditch was just blood, because it had colored the water.
Was the blood in the ditch on this side of the road or the other side?
That side, because he came up and he pulled the Jeep crossing that road, and he pulled in on an angle, and the shells had hit, and he was killed, and he was hanging out. And so we started the attack, and 2nd Platoon was to lead off. So right away they told Brennistow, 2nd Squad, lead off. And Brennistow said, Harold Phillips and Burgett, we used to call him Scout, now they call him Point Man. He said, I said, Harold Phillips and Burgett, point. So we took off, we ran up the side road. And then we got a little ways up here, and there's 2 Sherman tanks there, and so we would start around the left out, and just we did, there was a whole gang of German tanks just coming down the road, the Borsey Road. And
around last night on the way to dinner.
Yeah, they fired, our tanks fired it on them first, and then they reloaded. And I don't think the German tanks knew exactly where it came from, because they didn't see them. And well, by the time they were getting ready to locate, the Shermans fired a 2nd time. Well, the 3rd tank back from the lead, he exploded. And then the 4th tank exploded. So the rest of the tanks kind of boogied out of there around a little ways. Then the German tanks got set in a formation, and they were firing at the Shermans. There's only 2 Shermans there, and they were firing them, and then the Shermans returned fire. And Phillips and I were standing in between them. Here's the 75s going this way, and from our Shermans, and the 75s coming from the Panthers. And Jesus Christ. So then we hit the ground, and the one Sherman on the left side of the house, he started backing up, so he could wheel around to the right side. And he almost ran over. Phillips and I actually had to roll over and over. We didn't have time to jump up, and the tank went by where we were laying. And then it withdrew the tanks, and they started with artillery. So they're not going to throw artillery in with their own tanks there. So they evidently recalled their tanks and started hitting us with heavy artillery. And then it got worse and worse. And I mean, they threw a lot of artillery in here. And Phillips and I ran from one little protection to another, and we got up a few ways, and then finally A Company caught up to us. And we attacked up the hill all the way to the haystack. And that's
kind of a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, and then that's when Tiger tank came over the hill there, and he machine gunned the haystack. There was cows had eaten out underneath it. It looked like a big mushroom. We were underneath this thing, and then the haystack caught on fire, and its parts were falling down on us. So Brennistow says, "Hey, Burgett, run back, ask the company commander if we can withdraw from here." So I ran all the way back, and I saw the company commander, and he said no. So I ran all the way back up to Brennistow. He said no. Yeah. So anyway, by this time the straw was falling on our backs, and trying to set guys on fire, so we just broke and ran. We came back, all the way back down here. And then Phillips and Spear, a couple other guys went that way. And I said, well, hell, me might be firing at them, so I ran this way. I come down the road, and I looked back, and the damn Tiger tank, I guess because of the road, he took off and followed me. I looked back, and I know he could have outrun me, he could have ran over me or anything, or he could have shot me. But for some reason he didn't. So I ran down, and this captain, I think he was a captain, no, maybe it might have been the first lieutenant, he saw me coming, and of course he stepped out of his house, and he had his carbine at port arms. He says, halt! And I said, halt, hell, get out of my way. And I went like, he looked back, he saw that Tiger tank, he went back in the doorway. And so I went in, as soon as I could slow down, I went in the house, and the door was unlocked. And Phillips and Liddell was in there, and there was it's just funny how things imprint on your mind. I looked at the door on the left, and there was a bed in there, and there was a dead civilian, an old guy, laying on top of the bed. And so I said, out the door, back door quick, and we all three went through the back door together. That tank pulled up, and when he did, the door was here, and he swiveled his barrel right inside. As soon as he did, he touched it off and blew the whole back of the house out. And so he withdrew, and he went back up the road. And so Phillips and I and Liddell came back in, as feather ticks had just exploded. We walked back, there's plaster come down, feathers all over, you couldn't hardly see nothing. Finally, it started settling, we looked, and here's this old guy in this bed was up against the wall, it looked like a decal. And old Liddell, Utah, he said, well, I hope his kin folks won't think we did that to him when they come back. Yeah, anyhow, we went out.